A demon baby, an ancient god, a pretty peeved shaman, and... That's the Shadow of the Colossus. My name is Nook. Allow me to explain. On October 18th, 2005, one of the most visually engaging and innovative games was released on the PS2. Its style and scale captivated players, securing itself as an instant classic. It has continued to dazzle fans and drum up new ones with its HD release back in 2011, packaged with its predecessor, ICO, and now all of us fans wait in anticipation for the sequel, The Last Guardian, praying to Dorman, the Queen, and every god in between that it doesn't get delayed again. No! Well, now left to conduct my very own self-propelled hype train, I want to talk to you about the story of these games, and more specifically, the ending of the Shadow of the Colossus. I mean, seriously, what is happening here? Well, to find out, we need to go back to the beginning. Not that far, but we'll get there. That's more like it. In Shadow of the Colossus, you play as Wander, who travels to Forbidden Lands to retrieve the soul of a young woman, Mono. Wander is greeted by Dorman, an omniscient voice saying once souls are lost, they cannot be reclaimed. But with the ancient sword that Wander wields, it may be possible. In order to revive Mono, Wander must slay the Colossi that live throughout the land. With his trusty steed Agro, he sets forth on his adventure. Oh, spoilers and all that, even though the game is 10 years old? 10 years? Whew. Where are my hard candies? Wander cuts down the terrifying and beautiful Colossi, and Mono awakens. Yay! But not before Wander turns into a giant demon monster, who gets sealed away by the mysterious masked shaman. More on this guy later. And Wander is reborn as a horned infant. The masked shaman leaves with his men, destroying the only way to the temple, deserting Mono and the baby Wander to those forsaken lands. Everybody get all that? Yeah, me neither. Let's take a closer look. Well, that didn't help. To begin understanding all this cryptic nonsense, let's tackle the easy stuff. Wander in his eventual giant demon form. After defeating each colossi, Wander is attacked by black tendrils that spill out of their shadow-covered corpses. Wander acts as a vessel, delivering the darkness back to the temple, where they take the shape of a humanoid silhouette representing each of the colossi Wander has killed. This obviously takes a toll on Wander, as you can see his visage degrade throughout the game, his clothes becoming tattered, his skin growing pale and veiny, ending eventually with sprouting horns. So what's going on with Wander and the Black Tendrils? Wait, I think I just found the name for my new band. Yeah! No, but really. In the end of the game, we learn that our omniscient guide Dorman is actually an ancient, powerful being, a colossal, fire-breathing, demonic spider, lizard, monkey, fish, man being. A being that the shaman himself long ago severed into 16 fragments in order to imprison Dorman in his power. Seeing as there are 16 colossi in the game, it's pretty easy to ascertain that these 16 fragments of Dorman were imprisoned inside the 16 colossi. You see, a colossus's sole existence is to act as an animated prison, defending the evil stored within it, locked inside by seals of light, and the ancient sword that Wander wields is the key. By breaking the seals of light with the ancient sword and killing the colossi, this dark power is unleashed, suddenly turning the story of this game on its head, coloring Wander and us as the bad guy, as we unleash an ancient evil, all in the name of reviving the young woman Mono. And with the colossi defeated, Dorman uses Wander's body as a host to resurrect himself and goes on a rampage through the temple in an attempt to exact his revenge on the shaman. But the shaman ain't got time for that, and enacts a ritual that seals away Dorman once again and rids Wander of everything evil and impure, leaving him in the most innocent state in which a human can exist, an infant. But the infant Wander does not come out completely unscathed. He is left with a mark that curses his bloodline, the horns of Dorman. Generations later, we revisit Wander's bloodline in ICO, whose story comes after Shadow of the Colossus, despite being released before. In ICO, horned children are thought to be cursed and are taken to the Temple of the Queen, a dark goddess. The children are left as sacrifices in stone sarcophagi, and their spirits go on to serve the Queen and the heir to her throne. Their spirits appear as dark silhouettes, like the ones seen lurking over Wander, hinting at being fragments of Dorman's once great power, now reduced to a festering curse kept at bay in the sacrifices made to another great deity. and we can actually see the Queen's castle from ICO in Shadow of the Colossus. It seems that generations after Mono and Wander repopulated the Forsaken Lands, a stigma was created about the Horns of Dorman being a curse. So, any children born with the horns were shipped off as a sacrifice to the castle in the fog. Woo! Okay, so that got a little heavy. Let's take a watermelon break. Everyone refreshed? Great, let's move on. Returning to our regularly scheduled program back in the lands of the Colossi, and with Wander's demon form out of the way, what's left to tackle in this epic conclusion? We're left with one more big element to cover that really ties the whole story of Shadow of the Colossus together. This single character gives us context to the entire plot of Shadow of the Colossus, and may have even caused Wander's venturing to the Forsaken Land in the first place. And I believe he has a strong connection to the Last Guardian. Of course, I'm talking about Aggro. Oh wait, no. The shaman, whose name we learn is Emon.
Who was Emon?
Emon! Alright, that was weird. That's right, the shaman is not only the legendary hero as described before, having locked away Dorman, but it is likely that Emon is also the one who caused Dorman's resurrection. Although not entirely on purpose. Allow me to explain. In the beginning of the Shadow of the Colossus, we venture with Wander through the mountains into the forbidden lands of the Colossi. And how do we know they are forsaken? Well, once Wander arrives, gently placing Mono on the ancient altar, we're given a long shot of Wander, staring a 1,000-yard stare, then fading to a floating mask and voice. The mask tells us of one that can retrieve souls, who we know now as Dorman. But to go to those lands is strictly forbidden. In how the mask is introduced to us, giving us a long look at Wander and fading into the mask cutscene, it seems pretty likely that this voiceover and interaction with the mask are actually a memory of Wander's. Almost as if Emon was a mentor or father figure to Wander. And judging by the similar garb, which greatly differentiates them from the soldiers and even Mono, it seems likely that Wander was studying under Emon, possibly studying to become a shaman himself. And once Emon and his men arrive, we get confirmation that the shaman and Wander knew each other before our story began. After toppling the final Colossus, Wander returns to the temple and rises with the fragments of Dorman. Emon turns and says, "I don't believe this, so it was you after all." And he accuses Wander of stealing the ancient sword, which also points to them having come from the same location before meeting again here. The sword used by Wander to break the seals and defeat the Colossi must have been in Emon's possession before Wander left on his adventure to be reduced to such a sight. Emon has seen Wander before and sees the change in him. He knows him, and Emon is greatly disappointed by Wander's actions. Like when your parents aren't mad, just disappointed. "Sorry I didn't take out the trash and freed an elder demon, Dad." Gosh. But we haven't even gotten to the really juicy parts of the shaman yet. Okay, that came out wrong. Let me rephrase. Emon's juicy tidbits are yet to be uncovered. Yeah, you know what? Let's just move on. How is Dorman's resurrection Emon's fault? I mean, he's the guy that sealed Dorman away in the first place, and Wander is the one doing all the work to free Dorman's power. That is true. But why did Wander seek out the Forsaken Lands in the first place? For Mono, right? But what do we know about how Mono died? When Wander first arrives with Mono and is greeted by Dorman, Wander tells Dorman she was sacrificed for she had a cursed fate. And who, in a typical religious hierarchy, one that would consult higher powers to see the fate of men, would be the one to execute a sacrifice in order to prevent a horrible fate? A religious leader, a shaman, Emon. Emon killed Mono. But why? What is this cursed fate Wander mentions? Back in the unknown village, Emon had a vision. A terrible vision of the great darkness he had once sealed away being released once more. And there, in the shadow of the colossal evil, stood a girl, Mono. Driven by fear in order to prevent the great evil from his past being unleashed upon the world once more, Emon ordered Mono to be slain. But in doing so, spurred the young Wander, who cared a great deal for Mono, to seek out forbidden magic in a forsaken land. And so, the shaman set in motion a self-fulfilling prophecy that would cost him his pupil, the ancient sword relic, and would release the dark evil he knew in his youth. But that's another bag of cats for another time. It's dangerous to go alone, so subscribe for future updates and make sure to check out my explained videos on Zelda and Batman Arkham Knight. If you like the video or want to see other topics or games explained, let me know down below. I would love to talk to you. My name is Nook, and this has been the Shadow of the Colossus Explained.